following podcast has been brought to you by the Ramblemania Show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Ramblemania Show probably brings to it as I, your inaugural two-time champion for singles and tag division, Hazel the iZombie. Welcome to another edition of Raw Rantz. We give you the good, the bad. Who booked this shit? I'm gonna name it Raw. So, WWE just decided to release fucking Bray Wyatt. Yeah, everyone's in an outrage. Everyone's outraged by that. Like, we've gotten a lot of releases since after Mania. Some were shocking. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black. Some were, out of nowhere, Velveteen Dream, all those other people. And it was like every 2 weeks, it was like, all right, we got a few more releases. We got, agents, people from, that work with Vince, and, the idiots in suits and all that other stuff. But of all the people that they release, even disrespecting Mickie James by returning her belongings in a trash bag, that was disrespectful, and I'm happy that Mark Carrano got fucking fired for that shit. He's a fucking asshole to begin with. All right, so Saturday, which is rarely a time of day where WWE just decides that, oh, we're just going to release people on this day. Fuck it, right? We got nothing better to do. And it was just... was shocked beyond belief, knowing that Wyndham Rotunda, who went by Husky Harris, Bray Wyatt, now The Fiend, has been released by the WWE due to budget cuts. So for anyone that kept thinking that, oh, he asked for his release, he demanded his release, no. I don't think Bray Wyatt would be the type of person to demand his release, because the guy was going through a lot of, I believe, mental and health conditions. And that's why he was gone for that time. I believe the last time we saw him was the Raw after WrestleMania. And he was doing his final Firefly Funhouse segment. And I watched it again, and I was starting to tell myself, was he foreshadowing his release from the company? Well, before I get to that part, let me just, I have the stuff right here, all the info and shit. This is from Inside the Ropes, wrestling.com. The news was confirmed from Sean Ross Sapp from Fightfuls, who noted that Bray Wyatt was gone from the company after WWE posted a statement on Twitter. That first tweet was quickly deleted. However, a new statement was shortly issued after confirming that WWE have come to terms with releasing the former WWE and WWE Universal Champion. It's been reported by Meltzer that Wyatt was told of his release was due to budget cuts by Johnny Ace. In addition, the former world champion he was preparing to come back. Actually, I believe it was at SummerSlam or the night after SummerSlam. And they had some big plans set up for the Fiend and stuff. So basically, the last time we saw the Fiend was at Mania 37, where he was defeated by Randy Orton, was distracted by Alexa Bliss. The following episode, we had the final Firefly Funhouse segment. Wyatt himself said that it was time for a new start. So someone basically recorded the segment of the final Firefly Funhouse, and this is from a guy named Cult of Personality Fiend. It says, in the most Bray Wyatt airy way of doing this, during the final Firefly Funhouse segment the night after WrestleMania, Bray foreshadowed his release. even the sweetest little see ya at the end. Yeah. Bray Wyatt replied with a giant red circle. They're saying that he's been using this emoji countless times when discussing life being a circle, most notably following his shortcomings as the Fiend. I'm pretty upset about this because I really thought, we just got back a live fucking crowd. And it's so weird that, they would have figured like maybe, just maybe, he would have came back for at least one Firefly Funhouse segment one more time. But, I guess it wasn't in the minds of WWE because they were more focused on Alexa Bliss now, since Mickie James had some words to say about the whole thing with Bray Wyatt being released. Where's that damn tweet? She writes, this is what she wrote on the tweet. I think what you meant to say was, thank you so much for coming up with such an incredible gimmick time and time again. One so cool and over, we really didn't know how to book it. They didn't know how to book it right. So we just gave it to someone else so we could still make all the money off of it and let you go. And it kind of is true here that, Mickie James would say that, because ever since they put Alexa Bliss with Bray Wyatt, and I'm not saying this is Alexa Bliss's fault. She doesn't need to take any type of blame in this. She's just doing her job, as a performer. They're telling her to do this, so she has to do it. It's not her fault. So it's not gimmick infringement if they were together for this good period of time that they were working with the segments and such. I believe it's true what Mickie James did say, but again, there's no fault at Alexa Bliss here. It's just WWE just taking what was so good around, 2018 to 20. I do believe that the whole thing started around like 2019, from the start of that. And it's just all the segments that we were getting from Bray were great. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna, complain. And that was the reason why Ronda Rousey wrote this fucking tweet. I've seen you fans chanting, "We want Wyatt" on Raw, chanting, "We want beach balls" over Wyatt's performance. If WWE treated him like he was expendable, it was because of you ungrateful idiots did first. And, that kind of is true, to be honest. Like, let's talk about when he debuted in the main roster as, the cult leader, the eater of worlds. He's got the whole world in his hands, Bray Wyatt. He had a Ring of Fire match with Kane. The crowd was not into it. The crowd was more distracted by, I believe, a beach ball that was being tossed around. His matches with Cena. That was a bad angle, and it kind of ruined Bray Wyatt's credibility as a WWE main roster guy, knowing that Cena couldn't even look at the lights for that one time to put over a young guy like Bray Wyatt. Like that was unfair, and it was stupid. And then it made him look worse because he just kept constantly losing match after match after match. Like they put him in like big matches, and then all of a sudden he has to talk this big game. When the bell rings and he loses, he starts losing all that credibility from the crowd, and then people are just not buying everything that he fucking says anymore. And then we have the whole thing with him winning the title and then losing it to fucking Randy Orton at WrestleMania because reasons. Then, the Sister Abigail thing with him and Finn, him cross-dressing as the Sister Abigail character, for that match to not even happen, for it to not happen, I'm like, good. That's that's something that Bray Wyatt needs to legit stay. Like, that was the smartest thing ever WWE did, was like scrap that whole shit and just throw in AJ Styles at the last minute. I know it was because his brother had the mumps and stuff and he got infected, so they had to cancel that whole thing. But we got it for Finn Balor with the Fiend, and again, another prime example of how the fans just wasn't really into that whole match between Finn and the Fiend. Nobody was cheering. It was very quiet, all that other shit. And then, people just started chanting for him when he started doing all these, segments in the Firefly Funhouse. And then people were just like loving every minute of it. They were loving the entrances. They were loving the fact how he just like appeared and just started attacking people. They loved how they loved how they felt as if he was going to be protected and just shot straight to the moon. And then Hell in a Cell happened. You all know what happened in that fucking match. Matches like that is how WWE basically lost legit faith in the Fiend. So much so that they had him win the fucking belt in goddamn Saudi Arabia. That is not how you book a monster character like the Fiend, like just Bray Wyatt or the Fiend. And then you had some stuff with the Miz and all that other nonsense and stuff. And the icing on the cake, just the best thing about the Fiend was the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena, which again, how the fuck did he manage to escape the Firefly Funhouse realm? Bray Wyatt was still in the company. I mean, he wasn't like, on tour or with WWE at the time. He was still at home dealing with some, physical illness that he's going through. I don't know what it is, but people say it's some sort of illness. But how did you fucking escape that funhouse, I still need to know. But yeah, that was a great fucking match. And it's just it started just getting boring, and then his stuff with Braun, it was okay, and then it got boring again, and then we had the whole thing with Alexa, and then now going on to Randy Orton and him being lit on fire. For him to come back and lose at fucking WrestleMania because Alexa Bliss wanted to pull some Silent Hill shit and have black viscous liquid poured down her face. All for us to never see Wyatt again at the end of his final Firefly Funhouse segment. WWE, how in the fuck can you drop the ball on this? This was a guy that was selling merch nonstop. This was a top seller. This guy was over on certain occasions if the fans weren't being dicks about it. And it's so weird that, how his release has become this giant fucking uproar. I didn't throw that belt over there because, Bray Wyatt's release. I threw that belt for a reason, because this episode of Raw, and I'm going to say it, this episode of Raw just fucking sucked. It literally sucked. Third week with a live crowd, and I'm not even going to say you dropped the ball. You fucking failed as a product submitted to the approval of the Ramblemania show. This is the tale of Lily basically annoying the crap out of Eva Marie. So without further ado, let's get ready to ramble. We open up Monday Night Raw in the Allstate Arena in Chicago, and Bizarro Land everywhere in Chicago. Like, the crowd here did not give a fuck. Let's just say that now, okay? And this is what I miss the most about the crowd, and this is sometimes what I hate the most about a crowd. You can hijack the show, but why do you need to be dicks about it? Like, we get it. You know, we read the dirt sheets and all that other stuff. We get that. You know, you pay your hard-earned money to come to this fucking arena to watch your favorite superstars do what they do best, entertain you. In the meantime, you want to sit there and hijack the shows talking about CM Punk. We want Wyatt. We want, like, shut up. You weren't doing that shit when Wyatt was on TV. You ain't fucking doing that shit ever again. Oh, and if he goes to AEW, I just hope he doesn't go and, like, take 2 years off from wrestling, you know. Go be a family man. Focus on family, then be ready to come back. Like, you're good now, Bray. I mean, I do hope you end up going someplace else, but I just hope it's not the obvious choice that everyone wants to throw every fucking time. Oh, Bray to AEW, Bray to AEW, Bray to AEW. How about Bray could go wherever the fuck he wants to go? So we open up with MVP and the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Lashley. They're walking down the aisle and they get booed. It's so funny. It's funny. So they get mics. They're about to talk about, you know, the crowd, about how everyone is excited to see Goldberg, and the fans boo. He needs to address a few things. MVP says that without question, Goldberg is an icon and still capable of annihilating any man on any given day, even on Sunday. If you guys know, any given Sunday. But therein lies the problem. He didn't challenge any man. He challenged the Almighty. And he says how Goldberg is a gladiator, a warrior used to getting into the ring with another gladiator. However, Bobby Lashley is no gladiator. That motherfucker is a goddamn kaiju. So he's a Japanese monster. Bobby Lashley as Godzilla. I wonder. Yeah, I'm just thinking. A monster unlike anyone else. So this could well be Goldberg's last match. MVP asks Goldberg if Goldberg wants to be remembered as a champion or as a casualty. So Goldberg's music hits and he makes his way down to the ring, you know, with pyro and smoke and the punching and the kicking and, you know, all that shit. Surprised that they didn't literally do the whole pre-entrance ritual where they see him walking backstage into the entrance. I'm surprised he didn't hit any fucking doors. Goldberg says Lashley should be concerned about losing the WWE Championship. Oh, really? You old fart. I mean, Goldberg, you're great and all, but you know, you hit your stride in 2016. All right. So MVP says, well, he says that MVP is scared and Lashley looks like it too. Goldberg says he knows what Lashley is thinking. He's a high-level athlete, but he shows weakness. Goldberg also says the first time Lashley saw him walk down the ramp, he thought he was his victim, but guess what? This is Goldberg's Coliseum. Oh, really? Really, my nigga? This is your Chicago is your Coliseum. Says it doesn't matter if he's 35, 75, 135, 135,000 years old, 135 million you yen years old. He'll always be Goldberg. He lives by the spear, and the champ will die by his spear. Oh, really, my nigga? Are you serious? Says Lashley is next at SummerSlam. So he gets out, he fucking leaves the ring, walks down the ramp. His son, his 14, 15-year-old son, who's ripped and, you know, wow, looks mighty fine for a young gentleman like him. He gives his dad a hug. His dad leaves. MVP and Lashley, they get out of the ring and they get in Goldberg's face. MVP basically makes Lashley get back in the ring and pulls with the belt. MVP tells Goldberg's son that Lashley is going to end his father's career and he will be done forever. Goldberg comes running down the ramp and spears MVP onto the floor. Goldberg and his son walk up to the ramp as Lashley checks on MVP. Goldberg shouts at Lashley that he talks to, he basically, like, you talk to my son again, I'll fucking kill you. Well, just said he'll kill him. Like, what? WWE being edgy, but got to keep it PG. They're using words like kill and shit and bullshit and and you know they got Miz and Morrison with dicks shooting loads of water on people, very, very innuendo like. I like this segment due to the fact that yes, MVP knows how to make an angle feel exciting without any sort of confrontation between the champion and the challenger. Even if MVP got to be the one to take the heat, that's cool, because you know what? It's still protecting the champion, the challenger. I mean, I don't like how Goldberg is being protected out of all this because it's basically throwing subliminal hints on him winning the fucking title from Lashley, which I'm hoping they don't fucking do. Seeing his son back on WWE TV was great. He's gotten, you know, he's gotten pretty good. Last time we saw him, he short hair, very young, chubby. Now he's ripped. I think I've seen videos of him working out with his father a lot, and I'm glad to see that, you know, Goldberg is helping his son get a good physique, because I do believe that his son is doing football, and you know, getting him in great shape, you know, even looking good for television. Like, holy crap, like that kid, he could probably be a second generation superstar if he ever considered getting into, you know, professional wrestling. Veer and Shanky, accompanied by Jinder Mahal, taking on Drew McIntyre. Again, a match that I did not care. Like, this is, some of the matches here are just not worth, like, I don't think some of them were worth watching. Some were boring. The others were just, why? And this match was in that category of boring, and why did it have to end in a disqualification? Like, what, these guys, Veer and Shanky, really need to be that protective to fucking, I don't understand. Why is Vince trying to protect these guys? What, these fucking lackeys can't take a loss or two? It's fucking Jinder. I understand if you're trying to protect Jinder, but having your lackeys be protected does not look right at all. They should be the fall guys. You know, eating pins, you know, doing all that shit, but still trying to look dominant for what they are, because they have These guys are huge. These guys are intimidating. The problem is one of them looks way more intimidating than the other. Veer, his partner, is apparently going through an injury, but I do believe that he's still going through his punishment after fucking leaking images of Keith Lee becoming double champion last year at the Great American Bash. And Shanky is just basically a Chinese ripoff of Roman Reigns. It just the Roman pants, the combat boots. The only thing that he just doesn't have is a fucking vest and some gloves. He just has a tank top. I didn't care for the match. It was stupid. The match ends when Drew goes for the corner and readies for the countdown for the Claymore, but Shanky grabs his foot. Mahal then comes into the ring with a steel chair and hits McIntyre in the gut, giving Drew the win. See, this is how you actually do a disqualification, not like you did last time. Fucking Veer gets hit with the chair while he's holding on to it, giving Drew the win. What the fuck is that? Jinder instructs Veer and Shanky to go get some chairs. And by the time they do, McIntyre just grabs his fucking sword. Jinder runs away, leaving Veer and Shanky behind. And Drew swings the sword, Veer swings the chair, and, gets kicked in the gut. Glasgow kiss. Shanky is the last person in the ring now. He has his chair. Drew is pointing the sword at him like, I'm going to cut you. I'm going to cut you. I'm going to cut you. And, Shanky is trying his best to act out, how petrified he is with Drew pointing a sword at him. So he drops his fucking chair. He fucking walks around like holding his hands up like this. It's like, and he goes like he's walking back up to the corner. And then Drew goes, ah! And then Shanky just fucking runs out of the ring like, bitch. So they were just going to let Drew, commit murder on live television. I did not care for this match at all. The ending was funny. It was funny as shit. I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, yes, we're getting this match going into SummerSlam, but the thing is, when are we going to make it official? We should have made this official, like, I don't know, the Money in the Bank, the Raw after Money in the Bank. We could have just made this match official for SummerSlam, but give it time. We'll give it some time. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, they're backstage. Nia says, if we're shocked about what we just saw, just wait and see what Nia does to Rhea Ripley. They're gonna have a match later on, and I'll talk about it. All right, so we got Drew walking backstage with his fucking sword, and he gets stopped for a comment. Drew says he didn't finish the job, even though those bloodthirsty Chicago fans wanted it. I mean, if they really wanted, they could have just said, can we get Nick Gage on, an AEW show in Chicago? We'll get that. We'll accept that. Not this shit. Not that bullshit. Drew says he's happy Jinder got away because now he'll be in his head for another week. Rhea Ripley going one-on-one with Nia Jax. And honestly, this is probably the best Nia Jax I've seen in this match. Not because of what happened moments at the end, because holy shit. I don't know if it was a kick or something, but something got her colored the fuck up, crimson mask, like half of her fucking face, which looked amazing. And it just made her look like an intimidating monster. And I'm glad that, these two women faced off. I mean, this is probably one of Nia Jax's best matches, and Rhea Ripley's, best encounters with Nia. And I think she took Nia to her limit here. I honestly could say this was probably my favorite match of this whole show, but not my match of the night. It was a really good match after the shit that we just saw a few minutes ago with the handicap match. It was just completely fucking dumb. So the match basically ends with Jax lifting up Rhea for a Samoan drop position, but Rhea slides off. Shayna gets on the apron and Rhea gets in her face. Jax runs, but Rhea avoids and rolls Nia Jax up for the win. We got to stop doing these fucking roll-ups. This was a good match, but we really got to stop these roll-ups. So after the match, Nia and Shayna argue in the ring, teasing again that they might split up. Takes her jacket off, and the fans start cheering, "Yay!" Like, but they're not broken up yet. They continue arguing until Shayna leaves the ring. Ripley comes from behind, kicks Nia in the head, and then hits her with probably the... I mean, yes, Nia's a big girl, and, you know, who would have thought that she would have taken the riptide from Rhea Ripley? It was okay, but it wasn't like impactful. I'm just glad that Nia took the bump for Rhea going into her triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. I liked it. It was an okay match. I mean, I can't really say anything wrong with it. It was a little slow and sluggish, but then it picked up at the end. And, you know, with that whole incident with Nia bleeding was great. What's happening with her and Shayna, we have to find out. I mean, Reggie's not with them anymore after Nia broke up with him. So I thought maybe that would have been like, all right, now we need to get back. We need to focus, get back those tag belts, and they would start winning again. It's back to losing, basically. All right. Next match, the tag match, players. It's a rematch from last week. God fucking damn it. All right, so will Ali get his retribution again against his former retribution mates? Because it is Mansoor teaming up with Ali again, this makeshift tag team. Oh, and since we're in Chicago, it's Ali's hometown, and he gets a rowdy ovation from the Chicago fans. Great. And they're taking on T-Bar, MACE. Another match that, this right here was my match of the night. I really don't care here. There's really good chemistry going on between Ali and Mansoor. I like that. First of all, I didn't like the 50-50 booking decision. And again, they're like, oh, we don't want this tag team to win again. And, since I don't want to say, oh, because we're in Ali's hometown, he has to lose. Like, they could have won again if that was the case. But if they were trying to do this whole 50-50 booking thing, then I'm guessing this whole feud might end at the SummerSlam kickoff show. So, I mean, this was a really good match. I love Mansoor's capability of, running the ropes and doing his high flying stuff. Him and Ali gelled together perfectly. I mean, yeah, Ali being the serious one, trying to get Mansoor to stay focused, try to concentrate on your opponent more instead of the crowd and everything. And I really love, what they're trying to do. Yes, it's another makeshift tag team that, I could possibly get upset over, but I can't because these guys are just too fucking good. Match ends when Ali goes up a T-Bar, kicks T-Bar into the but T-Bar kicks Ali into the ropes. Mansoor goes up to the top rope, but Mace distracts him, and T-Bar yanks him down to a knee to the face. Shit, my migraine is fucked up. T-Bar hits discus boot for the win, and the bumps that these guys take when last week Ali took the bump and he just did an inside out bump like crazy. Discus boot, bam, flippy. And now Ali, he takes the boot, flippy. Like, holy shit. So after the match, Ali gets in the ring and he starts berating Mansoor. And T-Bar and Mace get their retribution as they stare at their old leader. Ali shoves Mansoor out of the ring, and Ali is taking the double choke slam in his wake. Good story. Again, I'm not a big fan of the whole 50-50 booking thing, but hopefully this leads to them, competing in the kickoff show. for SummerSlam, ending this whole little feud with Mansoor and Ali getting their comeuppance. Maybe we might get one-on-one matches, building up to this whole shit. I want to see it. I want to see, I don't know, Mansoor versus T-Bar or Mace, or Ali versus T-Bar or Mace. That would be great. And, after this, Ali could put retribution in the past and, fighting his old comrades in the past and focusing more on getting Mansoor, on his side. And, following his every single word that he tells him, going forward for the Raw Tag Team Championship. So Charlotte Flair comes to the ring in the Windy City. She gets a microphone. I hate her fucking dress. It's horrible, and it was distracting. It was like, it was hurting my eyes, to be honest. Flair says she couldn't help but ask why Simone Biles withdrew from the Olympics. At first, she didn't understand it, but the more she read, the more she empathized. The fans chant for Becky Lynch, and Charlotte tells her that she's not here. Flair reiterates that Nikki stole her Raw Women's Championship. After that, she thought that she might have her own nervous breakdown. She's an 11-time women's champion, the most decorated woman in the blah 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 blah. She's been cashed in 3 times by Bayley, Carmella, and now Nikki Cross. And while she's, talking about how she's been cashed in 3 times, she grabs a chair, she grabs a kendo stick, and she grabs a broom. Are you going to wrestle that broom tonight, Charlotte? Because I'd rather see that than you fucking having a rematch with goddamn Nikki A.S.H. She beat the crap out of Nikki last week, and she had the gall to ask for a rematch. Tonight, she will sacrifice herself in a match where there is no disqualification, no countouts, anything goes. And Nikki comes from behind and whacks Charlotte Flair with a chair, rolls out of the ring, and looks stunned as Nikki jumps around the ring with joy. Good segment by Charlotte, but it's just the same thing, that she always says. Like, I'm the opportunity. I should be the one going after the championship, not no one else. Okay, so we have Thing and Doudrop backstage. Kevin Patrick asks about Natalya's injury. Thing says, who cares? She's more concerned with Alexa Bliss and that gross little doll. Like, I mean, you're gross, you thing. She says before she came along, Doudrop was probably alone on a farm or something. That's an example of Things and Lucian. The Lily Lucian is just gross. That Thing is way more gross. I find the doll to be more attractive than that fucking Thing. Tonight, Tamina will meet the same end that Natalya did last week. Natalya is basically injured from in her ankle from a penny maneuver that her and Doudrop was doing in the match. So it is Doudrop taking on Tamina, and Tamina walking out with both tag team titles like, I'm the women's tag team champions. I actually like this match. I liked it. I just don't like what's outside of that match, and it's that thing that, everyone else doesn't like. I mean, I'm not going to talk much about the match because it's just... Match basically ends when Doudrop is about to do something, but Thing stops her and tells her to do a crossbody. Doudrop, crossbody attack, now! Doudrop! She attempts it. Tamina avoids it. Tamina hits a Samoan drop, giving Doudrop her very first loss. Doudrop return! And Alexa Bliss is on the Titantron, and she's laughing and laughing and laughing. And she has the doll. And you're a loser, Eva Marie. So we got Damian Priest doing something that I wish he was not doing again. We ended this thing months ago, and we're going back to it again. Well, before we go back to that dumb shit again, Matt Riddle is backstage with him, and Riddle tells him a rambling story about his goldfish and his new scooter. It's like, I bought this goldfish and it died like 3 days ago, but then I bought this new scooter and I was thinking of Randy. I hear voices in my head, bro. And, you know, Priest asks if he isn't scared about Omos because Riddle faced Omos in one-on-one action tonight. This is probably Omos's one-on-one debut. Yeah, so he basically asked if he isn't scared about Omos breaking the new one, and he says he has the power of Randy Orton coursing through his veins. And Riddle asks why Priest is going on MizTV tonight, and he says he wants to talk to them, and if they step out of line, he'll make sure Morrison has a wheelchair just like the Miz. We just ended this rivalry in fucking May. In May, bro, and we're doing this shit again. So we got MizTV. Miz and Morrison are in the ring, and, you know, Damian Priest gets introduced. They say that, you know, they have history and disdain for the man. Priest comes to the ring. You know, they show highlights of WrestleMania with his match with Bad Bunny. And like, stop showing us shit that we've known months ago. We want to know what's happening right now. You don't care. We saw that. We had a good time with it. Move the fuck on. We should have moved on from, like, Damian Priest wasn't doing shit for a month. Last week, he has a match with Sheamus. And now we're back to this shit again. What in the fuck? What the fuck is this company? How does this company book these shows? This is atrocious. This is genocidal. This is genocidal indeed. Where's my joint? Where's my lighter? Okay, Miz says that Priest is the reason why he's in a wheelchair. And the cheater who ripped off Sheamus' mask last week, Priest says they're out of their minds. Sheamus was cleared to wrestle, and he showed up to fight. So he's a badass in Damian Priest's book. So he asked Miz if Miz is actually injured, whether if it's his legs or what's between his legs. Vasectomy joke. Stupid. I heard. I do believe that. I don't know if this is true, but I did hear that. I don't know if Miz had a botched vasectomy surgery or something. Whatever. I don't know, but. Sure. Miz says that he's been in the business for 16 years and he's never been injured. One match with Priest and he can't stand. Miz says that he'd slap the taste out of Priest's mouth if he wasn't in a wheelchair. Priest gets in his face and he tells him to do it. Miz isn't interested, and Morrison points his dick on fucking Priest's face and asks him if he's thirsty for his loads. Morrison says kids all over the world want to grow up and be as cool as him. I mean, do you really want to be a guy that, you know, takes a dripstick and, you know, jacks it off between his legs in front of a live crowd. Yeah, I think kids really want to be like Morrison, not the parkour, just the dripsticks. Everybody wants to get wet. Go take a shower, okay? Oh, my God. Priest says no kid wants to be a sidekick or a loudmouth jackass who will use anyone. So Miz tells Priest to be careful or Morrison will make him regret pissing off America's Most Wanted. So Priest basically came out to MizTV to challenge Sheamus, but now he just wants to beat the crap out of Morrison. So Miz tries to spray Priest with, loads of watery jizz, and, Priest grabs his dick and shoots all the jizz in Miz's face, like just shoots loads and loads and loads and loads of his face. Basically, Miz got bukkakied, like Byron Saxton gets bukkakied by Miz. So now we have this fucking match. It's the same shit that they usually do. I really, 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 really didn't care. Morrison lands some kicks and looks for a springboard, but Priest catches him for, reverse attitude adjustment and just call it an inverted Death Valley driver. Then a sit-down chokeslam for the win. Is he calling that move the Reckoning now? Because what happened to his hit the lights finisher? They just took that away from him and just said, fuck it, here's a new move. This new move is better. You don't got to flip. You just got to pick him up and slam him. I think they just basically said, we're going to remove some of the flippy stuff that you do, some of the flashy stuff, and we're just going to make you this big guy. I don't like it. It's dumbing down Damian Priest. And again, a prime example of how Vince McMahon does not care for NXT guys. As soon as the match ends, Sheamus attacks Priest. Ricochet comes down and hits Sheamus with a springboard drop kick, sends him outside. Priest knocks Morrison out of the ring, and it just became an impromptu match. Now it's a fucking tag match. Again, it's another one I just didn't care for. Basically, Priest knocks Sheamus over the ropes, and Ricochet hits a springboard moonsault onto him to the floor. Morrison rolls Priest up for 2, but Priest hits the Reckoning for the win. It is called the fucking Reckoning. So no more hit the lights. It's the Reckoning. All right, so we have Bobby Lashley and MVP backstage. Lashley is asked about what happened tonight. Lashley says he hopes Goldberg brings his son to SummerSlam so he can watch him annihilate his father. So now the match is official. Goldberg versus the Almighty. And once again, a part-timer taking someone else's spot that deserves the main event or the WWE Championship more than a fucking Hall of Famer of all people. Same thing with Cena. Another one taking a fucking a spot from a guy that should be facing Roman for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. Cesaro. So we have our next match, Riddle versus Omos. Omos got his own fucking theme music and no AJ with him. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on? First of all, I don't like the theme. It's very mumble rapish. I cannot understand any of the lyrics that were being said during this man's entrance. But the beat was fire, though. I give it up to the beat. The beat was dope. It's so weird. He has like a generic, like, graphic and, entrance, just his name, Omos, like nothing out of the ordinary, no VR, AR, like graphic, also just, plain old entrance. Basically, your creator wrestler entrances type shit. This was okay for what it was. I'm just upset because we're this close to SummerSlam and no Orton still. Where in the fuck is Randy Orton? Where is Orton? Where is he? Where is he? Basically, you know, Omos is taking most of the offense here. Like this man, since his debut, has not taken not one fucking bump. He's taken a knee, but not a bump. Not one fucking bump. And that's how you protect a fucking giant. Like, if you can make Commander Aziz take a bump, you're not booking a giant correctly. And you're booking Omos as this, you know, colossal, you know, giant of a man. And it's just amazing. You know, Riddle gets some offense here or there with Omos, but you know, it's he can't put the big guy down. And you know, it's just it's open season for Omos now. So the match ends when Riddle runs at Omos, but gets smashed with a clothesline. Omos slips Riddle up for a two-handed chokeslam, pins him 1, 2, 3. Again, what a perfect way to make Omos look strong on his own, without AJ by his side, without AJ interfering. This is how you book a giant. I mean, yes, this guy is very limited with what he could do as a wrestler, and you gotta accept it for what it is. You have to, because otherwise, if we saw Omos having more shit into his arsenal, like I don't know, he fucking, you know, stands outside the ring apron and he fucking does a somersault to 5 guys. Like, people are just gonna, you know, yeah, it's gonna get a big pop, but people are gonna be like, he should have never done that. He's too big for that. Like, I don't think that was even safe to even do. Like, he could hurt someone. So we come backstage with Alexa Bliss and Lily. They're sitting in the playground, and Bliss asks how we like the Lily-lution, and Lily has been inspiring people for a long time, like Jack the Ripper, Richard Ramirez, the Zodiac. Doudrop just shows up out of nowhere and attacks Bliss from behind, kicks her, and Thing walks in and lifts Lily, says that she's even ickier in person. I mean, you're ickier in person, you fucking Thing. They leave, and Lily just stands on her own like, I'm the Undertaker. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, what in the more fucking rematches on this goddamn piece of shit show. Karrion Kross and Keith Lee go one-on-one again. More 50-50 booking here. This time Keith Lee actually getting the win. But this was actually a competitive match. I can't hate it for what they try to do. It's just, again, WWE, you mean to tell me that we are in Chicago, you couldn't find a fucking local to job out to Karrion Kross or to Keith Lee within 90 seconds? Like, why are we having these guys face each other every week now? It's just, it's ruining their credibility, because now if this is not going to happen at SummerSlam, why are we doing this rivalry if we know Karrion Kross is going to lose to Samoa Joe at TakeOver 36 on? It was a competitive match again. I didn't hate it. I just don't like how WWE is booking this. Keith Lee wins one week, Karrion Kross is going to win the other week. Like, I'm not digging that, because now what? The next Monday it's going to be the same shit again. What's next? What are you going to do? A fucking draw? A steel cage? Something? At this point, you like either get jobbers to job out to fucking these NXT guys, or just don't have these two wrestle each other at all, because it's oh my god. Match ends when Lee wants to do the spirit bomb, but Karrion, you know, gets free from it. Kross wants the Saito suplex, but can't lift Keith Lee up. Kross hits him with the forearm, the Doomsday elbow to the back of the head, then applies the cross jacket. Lee fights it all to get on his feet, and Lee, he Irish whips him and then hits him with the Spirit Bomb for the win. Again, great competitive wrestling match, but this was something that the crowd just didn't care for. You know, chants of CM Punk, Wyatt chants. Again, this is Chicago, so they're allowed. They paid their hard-earned money to fucking come to this arena and, you know, be entertained. If they're not going to be entertained, they're going to sit there and fucking hijack that goddamn show. And that's what the fuck they did throughout this entire thing. They fucking hijacked it. 24/7 championship is being defended again in the ring. Reginald, now going by his new name, Reggie, just gave me like DX Kofi Kingston flashbacks. Triple H has the mic and he's just like what happened to your accent? At Kofi Kingston, and Kofi's like, hey, I think he's speaking normally now, and, you know, he's going by Reggie, and, you know, the sommelier thing is done. He's just Reggie who just does flips, and he faces Tozawa, faces Ninja Tozawa, and, you know, they lock up, and they avoid stuff by flip, 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 flip. Flip, 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 flip. Reginald hits a backflip elbow and flip senton to Tozawa for the win. And Reginald is just celebrating in the ring. So we have Nikki A.S.H being interviewed backstage. And she says she's never been in such a dangerous match. Yes, you have. Didn't you face Asuka in the last woman standing match at NXT? Do we not remember the superplex off the ladder to the announce table where both of you women died and did not get up to the 10 count? Who is writing this? Who's writing these fucking promos for these wrestlers? Because it just goes to show that I don't think the writers even fucking care or even watch NXT. So she's never been in such a dangerous match, and she doesn't know what to expect. But that's all a part of being almost a superhero. She has the confidence that she can beat Charlotte, and she'll prove that belief is everything. And now we have the no-holds-barred match between Nikki A.S.H versus Charlotte Flair. I gotta say, this was, I mean, last week's match was good. But then, you know, when you did that ending, it was I almost lost faith in this angle because again, another fucking rematch. Yeah, a lot of back and forth between these two, you know. Charlotte, you know, hits a reverse STO into the turnbuckles, then tosses Nikki A.S.H out of the ring. Charlotte clears the announce desk, then pounds Nikki right hands onto the floor. They brawl alongside as Rhea Ripley is watching from a monitor backstage. Flair hits an exploder suplex on the floor, then tackles Nick. Then she spears Nikki through the barricade. There's a table prompt out in the corner of the ring. Charlotte lifts Nikki, goes to the top rope, but A.S.H shoves her off. Charlotte dodges Kross and hits a big boot for the 2 count. You know, it's just crazy, you know, nonstop spots between these two. And I really enjoyed it because it showed a lot of, you know, pain and suffering that, you know, Nikki's going through now that she's a superhero, because, you know, superheroes can be in, you know, some of them are just impervious to pain. They just don't sell shit. But when you're almost a superhero, you need to take that fucking pain. What the hell is it? All right, so Kross does a spot where she jumps off the barricade, but Charlotte catches her and then she just power bombs her onto the fucking announce table, which is just crazy. It was amazing. The way the table exploded too, it looked like it hurt, and it looked like Nikki was just in serious amount of pain from that power bomb. So match ends when Nikki looks anguished, turns to anger. She drags Charlotte through the ropes, hits a spinning neck breaker for the win. I thought she was gonna do like, you know, what Randy Orton does when he has an opponent dangling on the ropes by their feet and does the DDT. Does a neck breaker instead. I'm like, holy shit, that's impressive. And possibly a new finishing move for her. I don't mind the flying crossbody because if you're almost a superhero, you need to have flying capabilities. And I believe that the flying crossbody was actually a really good idea for Nikki to use. This was obviously my match of the night. Indeed. I think I might have said the tag match between T-Bar MACE versus Mansoor and Ali was my match tonight, but I take that back. This was my match of the night here. Like, yes, Charlotte is a great wrestler. She has the capabilities of being a superstar, a face for the women's division in the WWE. But when we go around and on the internet saying how Charlotte is burying most of the women in her division because there's no one that's basically on her level, she's really stating the facts there. Like, there's literally no one on Charlotte's level. If you count Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bayley, that's it. And there's no one else that's really on Charlotte's level. What, like Nikki A.S.H is facing Charlotte a few times. It really doesn't mean that she's on Charlotte's level. Just because she's the champion technically doesn't mean that she's at Charlotte's level. It's going to take a while for her to be at Charlotte's level. Maybe a few more matches here or there. Maybe after this triple threat, we'll finally get that one-on-one between Nikki and Charlotte. And then that's probably when Charlotte will win the fucking belt back from Nikki. Who knows? At the end of the day, like, literally, Charlotte is basically the main face and the poster woman of this whole female division. There's nobody that's, you know, truly at her fucking game right now more than Charlotte Flair. But overall, this show just fucking sucked. It sucked. It was horrible. The constant rematching is terrible. Why are we getting Damian Priest and Miz shit again? We didn't need that. We need to move on from that and move forward. Randy Orton, come the fuck back already, because at this point, it's most likely you're next on the fucking WWE release list. And like, next week we need to see what Lashley is gonna do. I mean, if they're, well, I know the match is official. If I would have been smart about this, I would have just said, hey, I got in that backstage segment that MVP and Lashley were, instead of saying his son is gonna watch me annihilate his father. How about next week we'll have a contract signing between Goldberg and Lashley, and, you know, we'll have that face off, and then, you know, we'll tease who's gonna hit who first, and then all the other shit. Like, that would have made more sense, and then you would have plugged the match there, making it happen. Stop with the fucking rematches. Enough. I'm getting sick of it. And you're running out of ideas, and, you know, it's the only reason why I'm going to give this show the grade that it deserves. The show was bad. It was a bad, but it gets a 2.5 bad because the crowd at least got me entertained. Again, I miss having the crowd, but I don't like the crowd being dicks at times, especially when you're trying to hijack a show after, you know, being gone for all this time. So it gets a high bad, a 2.5 in my book. next week they need to step it up a notch. They have to, because if you can't, then your go home show going into SummerSlam is not going to look good. SmackDown is becoming more interesting, to say the least. YouTube.com/Ramblemania show. You can stomp a mud hole on that subscribe button. Cheer for us by clicking a thumbs up. Share this with your friends all around the world. Every week we put out all the videos from all the weekly shows for all of you to watch and enjoy. For our social medias, Facebook.com/Ramblemania show. Twitter @Ramblemania. Instagram @Ramblemania show. And Banter Club Podcast. For all of our audio platforms, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Anchor, all audio platforms. Search Ramblemania show, because every week we put out all the audio for you guys to enjoy and listen. As far as for me personally, you can follow me on Instagram @iZombies, IZOMBIESZ. I wish my twin was fucking here for this shit, because I really wanted to know his thoughts on Bray Wyatt being released. Well, hopefully he shows up for SmackDown. We'll get his thoughts. So, for Hazel the iZombie, this has been the Ramblemania show and Raw Rants. We'd like to wish you all a point and goodies, a too sweet, a goodbye, a good fight, and a good night. Bang, bang.